Hi folks, I'm a blandly animated version of Harry Partridge, filling in for live-action Harry who's an idiot.
I'm an artist and writer and voice actor and animator, and I make animated short films, and I live in England, and I'm 30 years old, and I have a YouTube channel called Harry Partridge, and a Twitter account and a Facebook account and all that other horrible stuff that is ruining our lives. And this is an interview with me about all the stuff, what I have done, and are going to have been done. How did I discover animation? Well, it was always there.
Since I was a child, I've known in my heart the moving of pictures was my kind of art. But I had no film crew nor actors for parts, so tried animation and then could finally start.
My dad was a big fan of animation. I mean, he still is. He would make me watch weird European stuff like Jan Svankmajer and Lottie Reiniger and Jiri Trinker. But I didn't really care about that stuff. I liked watching Disney films on VHS quite a lot. And of course, I was born in 87. Of course, all the great 80s animation, or the stuff that came out of that decade for TV, I really went crazy for the real Ghostbusters and Thundercats. And the animated Beetlejuice show that came out a little bit later on. For some reason, I was always drawn to the supernatural and horrific and scary more than the cute stuff. I like the action and violence more than the cute stuff too. Like we have in Britain, or we did back then, shows like The Shoe People, which is about sentient talking shoes, or The Poddington Peas, which is a show about fucking sentient talking peas. And that never captured my imagination like Mumra. You know, no competition there as far as I was concerned. But I knew pretty much as far back as I can remember that these were not real characters I was seeing. They weren't puppets. They weren't grown to be two-dimensional in a laboratory somewhere. That these were drawings that people had done and put one after another. And I think that may have been part of the thing that sparked me to do a lot of drawing of my own, because cartoons and animation had captured my imagination so much. The projects that I enjoy working on the most are the ones where I am completely left alone and not bothered. I have done a few sponsored videos to promote video games. I did one for Hitman.
Hey, I know you. Foster, right?
That's me.
I did a few for Skyrim. I did one purely to begin with just because I was excited about Skyrim. And then they contacted me, Bethesda contacted me and said, yeah, will you make us more videos, please, to feed the beast? And I said, yeah, of course, I'll do that, gladly. But of course, you know, with that comes, you know, you have a deadline, usually a hard deadline, and you have to appease people because you're kind of selling a product. And that's great, you know, and I've only accepted things that I really want to work on and for cool projects. But I really like doing STARBARIANS.
It's not fair, I won!
Dr. B's, the two that I've done were fun because it's just me coming up with stuff that makes me laugh, basically. Anything that really isn't a video game related sponsored video usually came from my imagination. So anything that just, you know, I plucked out of my own head was fun to work on.
Son, congratulations on your 3rd clean year.
Thank you, Father.
Have you sampled the platter?
Do I have any hobbies outside of projects? You're telling me there's a world outside? No, of course I do. I collect action figures, in case you were under the impression I was cool. I can confirm that I collect small plastic men. I don't like the hyper-articulated, detailed modern figures with all the, you know, accessories and stuff like the Hot Toys and the Marvel Legends. I like crap. I like the chintzy, cheesy 80s and 90s figures with all the bright colors, like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Skeleton Warriors, or like the Beetlejuice figures where the heads come off, or the real Ghostbusters where the eyes pop out, all that crazy stuff. I think because I like the kind of little the interest of having a little sculpture in your hand that does things. But as a kid, it held a lot of appeal to me because that was my imagination was so important to me. That was kind of the passport to an imaginary world. Like, you couldn't actually go on an adventure with the real Batman, but a toy was your physical connection to going on your imaginary adventure with Batman. So toys have always held a lot of appeal to me, and they're fun.
Hide from Batman. Batman, gotta run to jail.
Each item sold separately from Toy Biz.
In general, I'm a big fan of pop culture. I absolutely love films, really any type of film, but especially genre cinema, you know, your superhero and comedy and horror and sci-fi, all that stuff. And comic books, of course, video games, naturally. So yes, I'm basically a consumer of all that degenerate trash that's destroying the West. And of course, normal human things too, like going for walks and food and travel and that. But it's kind of boring to talk about.
Space Nazi, but they kicked him out because he was too mean.
Fuck bears.
So, about my dad, Andy, being a founding member of the pop group XTC, how was it growing up with a musician around the house? You know, it really wasn't weird because that was all I ever knew. And was he supportive of my creativity? Yeah, 100% yes. Not just in how he would always be very flattering about my work. Probably, you know, in a lot of cases where it didn't warrant it. Because I've got a lot of my sketchbooks from when I was a kid, and you know, they're basically filled with mess. But yeah, he was always incredibly supportive. But I think more important than that, he stimulated me with a lot of stuff I wouldn't necessarily get to see or hear anywhere else. I mean, I think that there is an advantage to growing up with an eccentric person in the house, and my dad kind of fits the bill on that front, and would make sure that, you know, I wouldn't just listen to current stuff that was playing in the charts. He'd play, you know, here, son, try some Captain Beefheart. No, Dad, I'm 10. I don't want to listen to Captain Beefheart.
Came on up from New Orleans.
But, you know, he would put it on, and it would, even if I didn't really warm up to it, you know, if it was a bit of Mothers of Invention, Frank Zappa, or whatever old 60s psychedelic nonsense he was playing, would have an effect on me in some way, even if I didn't always absolutely love it. And I kind of do now love Frank Zappa. He did a number on me there. But yeah, it really helped having a creative, eccentric person around the house that would show me interesting things. And I think a big part of why I'm able to do kind of what I do for a living now, although some months I struggle a little bit with the bills, is that he always showed me that there was a pathway if you were really hardworking and dedicated, always a pathway to making some money and still getting to do kind of your art thing at the same time. Not everyone has that, of course, but my dad was able to do that, and I think I was lucky because he helped me get on that same road and inspired me a lot. Thanks, Dad. I think that the success that I've had, the little bit of success that I've had, is because maybe I'm like okay at a couple of things. Like I can do a bit of voice acting and a bit of writing and a bit of animation, and I'm lucky that I don't have to pay all those people separately because they're all me, so I get to stick it all together. I'm a jack of all trades, I guess. The name Jack sounds way too competent. Maybe I'm a Brumhilda or a Clarence of all trades. But yeah, there are people in all of those individual disciplines that are like light years beyond me. Nice people occasionally say, oh, your animation is really good, and I do wonder, have these people never seen a Disney film? You know, the Disney animators are like next level, whether they're working in CGI or hand-drawn. They really do hire the best people. And yeah, of course, I'm encouraged by everything I see. Not really encouraged, actually, more scared and terrified that I should probably do better. So anytime I listen to a great piece of music that's composed or has like fantastic melodies, I think music in my stuff needs to be better.
By the 9, it's been 5 long years since I've come here, so I think I'm perfectly entitled to cry one tear, and now I want beer.
When I hear great voice acting or see great acting in a film with a live actor, I think I've got to do better. And it's the same thing with great drawings. Oh god, there's so many like amazingly talented people online on Twitter sharing their art. It can actually drive you mad. It's probably best to avoid it all. So yeah, a lot of it encourages me, but a lot of it just makes me miserable, to answer your bloody question. Cut! Yes, there are going to be more STARBARIANS episodes. I'm not going to say when, and I'm not going to say how many, because I've talked online before about plans, and inevitably they don't come to fruition in the time frame that I would like them to. I have a lot of ambition for later life. There's a lot of things I want to do artistically and creatively, and I'm not even 1% of the way there yet. But one of those goals is to make more animation with those characters in that universe. I have lots of short episodes written that I just don't have the time and the resources to animate, but I also have an idea for a big long film. I'm sure I could stretch a lot of those ideas out and fill up a TV show or something. By hook or by crook, one day there will be more STARBARIANS coming at ya like Cleopatra.
Are you trying to delay my promise of Slaughterhawk Strong?
No. Let's do it!
Fuck yes!
My long-term goal is really to try and make a lot more entertainment. I don't want to do 1 or 2 internet cartoons a year and then just sort of scrape by the rest of the year paying rent by doing little art commissions and things. I want to make a lot more content and put it out there. And I don't know what form it will take. I think that the world of entertainment is really shifting. A few years ago, you know, online streaming kind of wasn't a thing, and now it is a huge thing. And now the premiere episode of TV shows are being shown in cinemas, except the box office had its like worst summer ever this year, so maybe films are dying off. Films as we know them are dying off, maybe. Who knows how things are going to change. I really just want to create a roster of characters and IPs and explore them in lots of different ways and stop treading water, which I feel I've been doing now for a couple of years. And my goal is in the short term to get out of treading water and latch onto a few ideas and pursue them, and in the long term really put out a lot of great entertainment to hopefully brighten up people's days. Will I make any more cartoons this year? Yeah, definitely. There'll be 1 or 2 cartoons this year coming out. Oh god, now I've said that, something horrible's probably going to happen. But it always happens that I say yes, I'm going to be putting out a bunch of stuff this year, and then the bills come in, and maybe some art commission that I wasn't expecting to happen happens, and that's how I pay my bills that month, or just, you know. But I'm trying to get away from that. I really want to make stuff for the masses. I don't want to do commissions for 1 or 2 people. I want to really blast stuff out there. So I have a sponsored game animation that should be out in maybe September of 2017. And then I'm really hoping I can get out another STARBARIANS or something or other before the year's end. We shall see.
Me that you're going to make cartoons this year. Prove it. Prove it.
You're in one. No. No.
So one thing I was asked to do was to bring in somebody else that I work with, a frequent collaborator, my live-in partner, girlfriend / love, whatever you want to call her, Joyce, who we've been together now since 2011, and she's basically helped me on every single one of my projects. You can find Joyce's paintings and digital art over on Newgrounds. Her username there is Sucho, S-U-C-H. What you say it?
S-U-C-H-O. They are just digital works. I don't do traditional fine art paintings.
But yeah, you can go and find those on Newgrounds, but she was awkward and didn't want me to talk too much about that. So I'm going to continue to be a big self-indulgent lummox and ask her some questions about my work. I think Dan did give me some questions to ask her, but I can't find them and I'm lazy. So, Joyce, how long have you been doing artwork for?
For you or period? Because I've been working on your project since basically when we met in 2009. One of the first ones was the Justin Bieber show, right?
Yeah. Do you want to tell people how we met? Do you remember how we met?
It was Comic-Con San Diego, 2009. You were at the Newgrounds booth, and when I later found out that you were generously invited...
Cruising for chicks at the Newgrounds booth. That was me.
And, well, I was cruising for not chicks, but cruising as well.
Cruising for dicks at the Newgrounds booth.
I wanted to say it, but I didn't think... I thought that'd be
No, you can go ahead.
But yeah, I was hanging around the Newgrounds booth like a little troglodyte. I had a big latex mask with me of a Star Wars alien that I made because I was on a real kick to do special effects. I thought that was where things may go for me. So I just kind of, instead of business cards, I didn't make business cards that year. I just brought the mask and wore that / carried that under my arm because I didn't have enough time for the costume. But you asked me where I got it. And I said I made it, and you said you wanted to hire me from there.
I said, open up, Joyce, I'm coming in. You better not have a boyfriend if you made that shit. I want it. No, I was really impressed, and then I found out she did digital artwork, and we hit it off, and Joyce has basically been doing backgrounds and random coloring and design work on pretty much all of my cartoons for years and years and years. And can you remember, like, any of your favorite things to work on? I know they're all basically big drags, and none of them are fun to do, because you're working for me, and I need your help. But can you remember any that stick out as fun?
Oh, I'm sure I can pick out specific backgrounds or things on each project. Like, can you rattle off a few?
We've done every STARBARIANS cartoon together.
Yeah.
We did Justin Bieber show. We did Johnny Depp and Burton Land. We did Stephen... No, did you help me with Stephen Lesbian? Yeah, you did.
Yes, I did. Because I do remember coloring those backgrounds. Yeah.
I did Dr. Beast pretty much by myself. There was the Riff Tracks intro. There was like, oh god,
there's tons. Okay. I enjoyed the backgrounds on Stephen the Lesbian and the one-offs. Yeah, like Justin Bieber show. It might be heartbreaking for some people to know that I've tried working in the Chris Chan references in the backgrounds that maybe some people didn't pick up on as much as possible. You were a little bit more unwilling to do that.
Yeah, a lot of people think I have more of an obsession with Chris Chan than I actually do. It's more Joyce, so blame her and throw things at her. Can you remember anything that really sucked and you hated doing other than everything?
Oh, the ones that are the most difficult, I should say, are the ones that are backgrounds of buildings, particularly old buildings, which basically means every Skyrim cartoon you've done has been like the worst one, just in sheer amount of work, doing windows, beams. That's the stuff that's easier or simpler or maybe a bit more creative are skies, even like stones or mountain work. I get to play a bit more with color and shading. I appreciate trying to work on my brush strokes more than anything, so those are a bit more fun than just filling in flat outlines. But
so usually I do the outlines and I pass the outlines for the backgrounds onto Joyce and she does the colors, but more and more these days as I get lazier and fatter and Joyce grows stronger and stronger by drinking my blood, she does the line art as well. Basically I pass her a childlike sketch and she does the line art, she does the colors. She usually draws like a penis on an extra layer that I have to delete.
That was started by you. I did not invent that charade. You would.
Joyce invented drawing penises. Cave paintings from 40,000 years ago don't have shit on how many cocks she has rendered in her time.
But yeah, I mean, even on a project though, it might not be 100% my backgrounds. We go back and forth, but like, cause sometimes you'll have to color something just because of time, but cause I tend to be a little bit too slow. But yeah, you will make all of the outlines, line art for a work, and then I'll put in the colors under your direction. But sometimes it has come to me doing outlines as well, but that's been relatively new and relatively rare.
It has never come to Joyce doing animation. We've tried that and it didn't really work out.
No,
but
I don't
she's...
even remember that.
Oh
it
my
was
god,
so long
it was
ago.
like the Mitchell and Webb cartoon from whenever that was, 2010 or 11. But yeah, so
I have, like, in the past though, on old STARBARIANs, done some shading and animation.
yeah,
That's
Joyce
been okay.
Joyce used to do the shading and highlights, and it's a bit wonky.
Oh, okay, fine. Fine.
It's not that great. So your boy HP took another burden on his large, many burden back of burdens. But Joyce has fantastic backgrounds. She's a good cook. She's easy on the eyes. As you can hear, she's a nice person, and I'm very, very lucky to have her. Can I claim that I have?
Yeah, people don't care.
I have her. She is mine.
People don't care. Edit that out.
No, he's not gonna edit it. Just edit out everything else. Just have that. That's all we have now.
No.
Joyce, thank you very much for joining me up here in my sweaty room I've been recording in for 20 minutes with no windows opened.
I hope people appreciate that in order to record this, there's one microphone and we're both hunchbacked over it and like 2 inches away from each other's face, like screaming into this pop shield.
Yeah.
This bit of nylon.
Sanctuary. Thanks a lot, Joyce. Leave.
King of the lesbians!
All hail Stephen, king of the lesbians!
All hail Stephen King!
What?
Huh? Of the lesbians! What?
For my first decree, I shall bang each and every one of you! Except the ones that look like dudes, cause that's totally gay!
Hopefully you enjoyed that brief aside as you heard the tale of a young girl whose ambitions to work in the special effects industry were completely waylaid by a fat toy collecting man-child that stole her and brought her to England to work in a cartoon sweatshop. But no, honestly, all jokes aside, I do owe Joyce a lot. She's been incredibly helpful on a lot of projects, but it's give and take, you know? I pay the rent, so... I love collaborating with her, and she makes life great, and hopefully you can continue to see her art on Newgrounds, her original art, and we'll get to work on more of the live-action special effects side of things in the future. It has always been our dream to collaborate on a project in that sense, and I can't wait.
Actual limited edition dollar straight from the real pile. And everyone who donates will have their name listed on some bullshit website or something. I don't know, because who cares? We have stretch goals!
So the final two questions I was given, one was, do I have any advice for fans? And the last thing was, what makes me happy? And I think I can kind of combine the answers really into one thing. I would say that my advice for fans, if you want to end up doing the kind of rubbish that I do, is work hard. And it's not a very fun bit of advice, but I think it's really, really true. I do believe that you get out what you put in. Of course, a little bit of luck does come into play occasionally, but luck favors the prepared, as they say. So I recommend Preparation H. In this case, that stands for Preparation Harry, or Preparation Hard Work. The more that you work, and the more that you forego the pleasures of life, and the luxuries of life, and the joys of life, hopefully there'll be some joy at the end of it when you're all done. And they say that being able to defer gratification is a sign of a high IQ. So if that means anything to you, hopefully you'll take some comfort in that. Work hard and look into the future, and if you really keep your head down and do great work, I think you can achieve great, great things. Terrible, yes, but great. And as for what makes me personally happy, Well, I have a lot to be happy about. I have a great relationship. I've got tons of sweet action figures from the 80s and a bunch of old PlayStation games. But the thing that really that makes me happy, that I think other people can take advantage of, is that the fruits of hard work have made me happy. When you create an animation, you've put a lot of hours into it, maybe months, maybe even years, and you put it out there and people enjoy it, and it entertains them, and they have a connection to it. That makes me happy. I haven't done that enough over the last couple of years. I don't want to be putting out 1 or 2 cartoons a year. I want to put out, well, maybe 1 or 2, but maybe they're 90 minutes long. Or an entire live-action film with great characters and great stories. I want to entertain people. And entertaining you guys has been an incredible experience so far, and it's made me very, very, very happy. And this is only just the beginning. I don't want to do just a few little shorts every year. I want to entertain the socks off of you, the pants, hopefully, maybe even your eyebrows. I can get to just fly off with delight if I work even harder, and that's my goal. So thank you to anybody that's listened to me and my lovely lady friend Joyce ramble. If you've made it to the end, you were either very bored or too lazy to turn it off, or hopefully you've learned something. So thank you very much, guys, for listening. Goodbye.
Books, games, music, film, too, whatever art you do, you can change the whole world overnight. Or stick with a vampire T-Rex.
Happy Harry.
So these days I create animation using a whole slew of programs, mostly from the Adobe suite. I use Adobe, well, it was called Adobe Flash, but they went and changed it. Adobe Animate is now what it's called, and Photoshop for a lot of kind of background elements and stuff that doesn't have to move. I use Toon Boom a lot because Toon Boom has far superior drawing tools to Flash, in my humble estimation, and Premiere, which is another Adobe program to edit it all together. I mean, I use a lot. I don't really have a favorite. They're all very necessary. They all need to combine together to form a big Voltron-esque monster that can hopefully do some good, or fuck up a small village, or whatever you're trying to achieve with your animation.
Oh, great. Now we're STARBARIANS.
My heft! My precious heft!